Welcome everyone, Liam here, and I want to thank you for stopping in today. So please take a seat, let me offer you a drink, and lounge around with me during today's video. If you do enjoy it, please like and subscribe, it is a big help. Let's get to today's video. Okay, so here, I was a little confused on where to start. And I knew that they were going to go with Incineroar, Landorus, Dialga, and probably Zapdos. Some combination of those three, maybe even Urshifu. So what I did throughout the whole attempts that you will see is that I picked my first three, which was Tyranitar, Palossand, and Dracovish, because that was my sand team. And then the fourth person was always going to be whatever I thought would work against the other team. Snorlax was a dud this round. I thought he'd be good, but he's kind of a dud. I never ended up using him. It was mainly Noivern and Mimikyu, and even then, typically Mimikyu. So my basic setup with Palossand was always to substitute first or to Earth Power first to try to get a free turn with him. And with Tyranitar, as you can see, he brings up the sand, and that is what makes Palossand a little harder to see. I also gave Palossand a bright powder to make him live longer because he's not super tanky. I was a little super worried about Tyranitar when I first was creating this team because he's weak to pretty much everything. Like almost everything he's 2 times effective. I get 2 times effective against him. Dracovish, while super strong in the sand, was not necessarily the star of the show, in my opinion, for these battles. And neither was Palossand, honestly. Tyranitar actually did a lot. If I had more better damaging moves, or some way to get him to move a little faster, guaranteed faster, without like making him only use one move, I think he definitely would have been a much bigger help. Mimikyu and Noivern actually are the ones that are highlighted throughout this video, as you'll see as we go. Mimikyu just had amazing coverage, and so did Noivern. They worked as a really good kind of coverage. Especially Mimikyu, who had grass moves, which was really good against like a lot of the other ground types and the water types that you'll see as we go. I pretty much always only Dynamaxed Mimikyu and Noivern, because Palossand only had one move that would do anything damage wise. He was more to distract and eat up hits and turns and try to take away from the opponent during their turn. This first one was a wash. I'm sure it's pretty obvious. That Dialga was a huge problem. I didn't have as much as I thought I would against them. And that Topu or Tapu, I didn't place on me. I'm not sure which one it is. Was a huge problem too because of how much damage it could do to Mimikyu. One thing I would change is I'd probably have some way, instead of Snorlax, maybe bring in, I don't know, something else to deal with some things that the rest of my team couldn't. I mainly had issue with steel and fairy typings. Maybe Corviknight would have been good. I also had issues with grass types, as you'll see as we go. Grass types were another big issue. So this team, I knew they were going to probably bring a water type because they saw my ground. Duraludon, I know, is pretty popular. I guessed that they wouldn't bring Manectric because of my ground types, and they're probably going to bring Darumaka and maybe even the Dreadnought. Those are my guesses for their team. So I picked, I don't remember who I picked. I believe I picked Mimikyu because he had grass. I think I picked Mimikyu. And here you can see I was correct on a couple of my guesses. The Caparaja and the Duraludon for my guess. I decided to do a sand attack because I thought that they would probably going to Dynamax that Duraludon. And I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to Thunder Wave, so I switched into Dracovish. Try to get, because I had the Sandstorm up and I have Sand Rush on him, and I knew he'd be able to go and hit super hard against that Caparaja. And I decided to, because normally what I would do is I would have substituted there. But that Duraludon was kind of scary because I knew it had special abilities in Gmax. I couldn't remember what, but I knew it did. And Steel Dragon, as I literally just experienced, was a extremely good typing. And I was a little nervous about it. And here I have knocked it out, which I think is probably a big proponent as to why this battle went the way it did. Here I chose Noivern due to I saw Flamethrower was super effective because I had forgotten Caparaja was Steel type. And he would also give me a better Gmax than the other two. Dynamax. I decided to use Pyrosyn's Earth Power on the Onix because it was super effective. That way it would free up Noivern to attack the Caparaja with no real issue. And there's the Dreadnought. It's the only one I guess incorrectly was the Onix. I figured that they were going to bring Darumaka due to the ice typing it had, but I guess they were probably nervous about it turning into the fire type once it doing the fire type ability. I don't know if that changes its typing. Again, I'm pretty new to competitive, so I don't know all the abilities yet. Yeah, so this was because I was super nervous about that Dreadnought. That Dreadnought would have wiped everybody on my team if I can't kill it quickly. Just due to the water typing, I assumed it would have had a water move. Which obviously it probably didn't, or wasn't a very good one to use Bite. But my assumption was they would have a water move and it was going to absolutely destroy my whole team. Everyone was literally the only one who could have taken more than like 1 to 2 hits from it. And even then, I don't know if Noivern would have been able to take too many hits from it either. Simply because, you know, I don't know how hard that thing hit. Shorp did come in clutch a few times. Not really as a like last second clutchness, but more of like, okay, I'm fully healed, and it's probably pretty demoralizing to see all your effort that you put into this one Pokemon just go away. And it definitely made him a focus of more attention every now and then. They're definitely focusing on him a few times due to him healing recently, and that was a problem for them. Okay, so here I figured they were going to go with Inteleon due to my ground typing, and probably, I don't remember her name, Serena, and Dracovish, Regidrago. And then I assumed that they'd go with the Tapu again. Yeah, it looks like I was right about 2 of them. At least I don't remember about the others. I got like super deep into shiny hunting Tyranitar, I just couldn't get one in time. It sucked. So I switched in Mimikyu here because I knew he had the grass move, and I didn't have any electric or any other way to deal with water types. It was only Mimikyu. And it was a good idea too, because I don't think Tyranitar would have survived that. He maybe, but I have a feeling it would have been a bad day for Tyranitar. Yeah, that hurt. That hurt a lot. I was not happy with that move. I went for the healing move on Palosand. Sorry. I was kind of hoping that they would see Mimikyu and try to get that, knowing it could hurt their Inteleon, that they would try to go for Mimikyu. And then I wiped their Inteleon. And they did exactly as I was hoping, which was try to kill Mimikyu. And they couldn't due to the Dynamax, really. And I got Palosand healed up there. I was super nervous about this because the Dark type, I don't remember it being a very good Pokemon, but I was not happy with it coming in and being a counter for my Mimikyu. Then I remembered Mimikyu had Fairy typing, so he was probably, I think Mimikyu's immune to Dark types, which is a huge help. Palosand lives a super effective move because I maxed out some of his tankiness as I could. Yeah, that really doesn't need any explanations to why that happened. I really wasn't expecting that one to that Pokemon to be on their team. That one threw me off a little bit, but I'm glad I had Mimikyu out at the time. Yeah. Mimikyu did go down, but then the Sandstorm was still up, so I went ahead and went with Dracovish, knowing his Fishish friend would be super powerful, and he was fast as fuck in this with the sand up. I was a little worried that Dynamaxed Regidrago would be too much for me to handle and be too tanky. especially since he is also dragon type, and I wasn't sure if Dracovish would have lived that, and he didn't. I was pretty much on my back feet here. I was really nervous. I did not think I was going to make it through this. So I expected Earth Power to do nothing, and I wanted to flinch him, so that way he would lose a Dynamax turn. But I'm thinking back on it, I don't think you can actually flinch Dynamax Pokemon, which is a kind of a bummer. Not gonna lie. Then I saw that the Earth Power did so much more. I'm like, okay, well, I'll also Crunch, because obviously Iron Head does fucking nothing. And he used a fire move on a rock dark type. Maybe I guess he's just trying to get rid of the sand. But at this point, the only thing the sand was helping was Payless Sand with his evasiveness, which is not who he was trying to hit anyway. Or he, I don't know. So this one, I figured that they were going to go with Inteleon, Jinx, Obstagoon, and one of these Slowbro or Slowkings. I wasn't quite sure which. I was thinking it was going to be Slowking, but I wasn't really sure. I do like that Inteleon shiny, not gonna lie. So I went with Substitute, hoping that he would focus on Tyranitar. I was throwing Mimikyu in so that way Tyranitar wouldn't go down and I'd have Sand for later if I needed it. Then he did this, which was really scary. I don't know how strong Inteleon is G-maxed, but I know it's probably not very much fun to fight. And then he used Hail and one-shotted my Payless one-shotted my Payless Sand. Luckily Mimikyu's disguise isn't broken by like Hail and Sand or anything, which is why I like to use him on this team. He has a good bit of coverage and then can kind of take a few of the sand hits with no problem, and it doesn't mess with his disguise. I wanted to get that Obstagoon out of the way. I wasn't sure what else he had, but I figured they were probably setup moves, just from past training, the training that I did, trying to learn. Obstagoon and Grimstone seemed to be used a lot for like setting up, and I didn't want him setting up any more than he already had. Yeah, I decided to Dynamax Mimikyu because of his Wood Hammer would be a grass move and thought it would help in the long term. I am surprised Dracovish survived that hit. I really thought he was going to go down and this was going to be a wash. Yeah, it took my Shield Bell away. I needed that. That's fine. It was a little... Again, I was a little worried. I kind of figured I had lost this one when he got the Dynamax hit off first, and I couldn't... There's nothing I could do. And then he had an Ice moves to get rid of my Dracovish. So that means in my Payless Sand. And I know he could one-shot my Tyranitar. Mimikyu was literally the only option to take his Inteleon out. And there, Dracovish was obviously faster. I was able to clean up. And then you throw up Slowking and Slowbro. I wasn't really sure what to do here because I couldn't remember the typings. I know they have Psychic, but I couldn't remember if they had a secondary typing or not. I knew Slowking probably had a Poison just because it's purple. And Fisherfin didn't one-shot, which was a little disappointing, but I also knew that I had a ace in the hole with how low he was on Mimikyu, so at this point I knew I'd won. Tyranitar was only coming in because I had to pull another Pokemon in. Because I knew Mimikyu no matter what would be faster. Unless this Slowking had something up his sleeve that I wouldn't know, but I had Shadow Sneak, which was guaranteed to move first unless he had like Protect or something. Yep, and I managed to win that one, just edge that one out. So here, I wasn't sure about this team. I kind of figured he'd go Dreadnought, double, Ingredient, and maybe Cinderace. Dreadnought because he has water, and I figured Cinderace was probably his starter, so her, I don't know, it's probably their starter, so that would be what they would want to use in battle, because I was the same way in the first one. I wanted to use Cinderace. And then they threw a Ditto at me, which was kind of a problem. At least I thought it was. I really thought this Ditto was going to be a huge problem because now he had access to my Palossand's stalling ability, which isn't much, but it's a little bit. It's an annoying mon to fight in a double battle. Yeah. Luckily the double kick from the double didn't do as much as I think he was hoping. And I managed to get a substitute up, which just means I have a free hit here. Or a free heal. And I knew if his typing changed, he's now a Ghost Ground type. And Tyranitar would live this because the other double kick didn't kill. And yeah, I managed to get Ditto to go away. Luckily, it didn't seem like I don't know if abilities copy, but it didn't seem like it was a huge inconvenience as much as I thought it was going to be. And at this point, I had decided that this double was a really good setup mon. It couldn't seem to do a whole lot versus some of my guys. So I kind of more or less assumed I would be able to set up on it. There I probably should have gone with Mimikyu, in all honesty, now looking back on it, because that means doubles a couple of his moves which wouldn't have affected at all. Also, actually, looking back on it, Double is using double kick. That's the third time he probably is choiced, which I could have taken advantage of, especially with, but I don't know what double kicks is, if it's normal or fighting or what, but if it's normal, I definitely could have taken advantage of that and thrown in Mimikyu, and there's nothing he could have done, except for go for my substitute, which has a boosted evasion. Yeah, I was kind of a little not great person here, just throwing sand at them, trying to use his double as a placeholder so he can only put in new one at a time, so I can just attack him one at a time and get him out of the way. Essentially do a 2v1 every single time. And it worked. It did. Yeah, definitely looking back on this fight, it probably would have been a much better idea. Instead of Dracovish worked out fine. There's no real issue, but Mimikyu would have been so much more annoying to them because of the ghost typing. Would have been really bothersome. At this point, I just didn't know how I wanted to end it because I knew I'd won here. Like, there was almost no way that they could win with that Cinderace against the Dracovish. I'm not sure why they max guarded that one when I've been setting up on that one the entire time. And I don't know if max guard is like protect where it doesn't stack as easily. Like you have to get lucky to get it multiple times in a row. But okay, so double kick's probably a fighting move then. Which yeah, means Dracovish is literally the only one that can be hit by that at this point besides Tyranitar. I should have done it Mimikyu. Yeah, and that was the last win. I do have more losses if anyone's interested to watch this. I can make a video of just me losing and explaining how I lost, my thought process. I definitely think I'm going to change out some. I don't know if I like Palisand as much as I thought I would. I do enjoy him. It's hard to say because I do like him as a stall, but accuracy seems to not matter quite as much because if I get hit by things that I'm weak to, he still goes down in one hit, and he's extremely slow. So I don't know. I'm almost debating throwing out Tyranitar and Dracovish just immediately right out of the gate to try to sweep as much as possible, but I feel like people expect that and I need some form of setup against them. I tried to make Tyranitar into a setup mon, which it obviously didn't work very well. Those are the only ones I won. I only won 4 out of my 10. So I'm probably going to change up Tyranitar's moveset. I have Stealth Rock on him, but I also have Thunder Wave, and I think Thunder Wave was not the best decision. I thought at the time it would work really, really well, but it seems to be more like a super situational thing in which it doesn't seem to work. It just takes too many turns, and he's weak to so much stuff that he'll get one-shotted by any fighting move, and half the stuff knows at least one fighting move. Yeah. I also learned that I am not great against steel types. I don't have a whole lot against them, and fairy types. Zacian was... I thought I would be able to handle Zacian because I had Iron Head on Tyranitar, and it didn't go as I planned. During those, there was a lot of me dying. Yeah. Please stay tuned for part 3 where I train and take on my 3rd attempt at competitive Pokemon as just your average gamer. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I am starting this channel as a little bit of a side gig just to have fun with the games that I love. I do stream as often as I can, usually on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on YouTube, sometimes the weekends as well. So please stop on by if you want to hang out and lounge around with me again. This has been Liam's Lounge, and I'm sorry to say, you don't have to stop watching my videos, but you can't continue watching this one.